Darin here with SRT, and I'm here with Nick Steelman and Bob Coulter of the Sim Factory, and we're here in Daytona Beach, Florida. We're here for the launch of their new Arca Remax Series driver development program at the Daytona Experience and Daytona 500 Experience. And thought we'd sit down and have a little interview, talk about simming and you guys' title, and introduce you guys to the community. So let's start with how you guys came together. How did the Sim Factory form?
Really, we were just a group of guys that were trying to put together something there. That we were working with Arca, trying to put together something to kind of gain their attention and whatnot. And then, kind of as we got further and further along with Arca, I think our company just kind of started to grow a little bit. We bring in partners that we thought could help us achieve what we wanted to achieve. And then, just really it was a year's struggle with trying to get Arca to believe in what we were doing. I think there was even some struggles at times with ourselves trying to, really believe that we had what it took to be able to put something together. I know how that is, man. I mean, yeah. It was a big undertaking for a company like this that we're completely self-financed, and it was a big undertaking. And so there was a lot of times where you might second guess yourself even sometimes, but all along, I think we knew that the Arca Remax Series is a great race series. I think that the competitive levels in Arca, as well as the overall atmosphere of that series, is very representative of sim racing.
Yeah, I agree. Being there in February, it was really cool.
Yeah, it's not the the highest levels of the sport, but it's kind of like college football. It's the NFL. It's the league that is turning out the next best stars. And so it was just us being persistent with Arca and persistent with our development until we had a cup driver that had asked us to set up at his coach, and we just happened to be across from the hauler at Arca, and the powers to be over there and saw us with them, and just I think kind of got a little nervous that after a year of us being in their garage and trying to do business with them, that maybe we were going to go somewhere else. So we were going to force the contract through pretty quick after that. So it was. Everything kind of came to us like that. It was, a lot of hard work. And
when did this all begin?
This was
2006.
Yeah, 2006.
And you guys have been at every race pretty much since then, right?
Yeah, following every single race, and a lot of other places. I mean, we've done PRI the last 2 years. We've been at a lot of different industry-related trade shows, some non-industry-related trade shows. I mean, some of it will go just to present simulation. I mean, we want to create a larger simulation community so that more developers create games. So that, if there's a larger economy, then that means companies will put development money into that community, and we'll all end up with better games to race. And I think that's really important. So it's kind of on the backbone of our thinking.
So you guys are the two leads, right?
Yeah.
And then, but who's the rest? Talk about the rest of the guys. I know Bill Zippy.
Bill Zimmerman, Zippy, Chris Coulter, Mark Carter, Mike Grover, and Ricky Sanders, who drove our car, the 22 car in Arca in 06. And then obviously there's a core group of guys from beta testers to track makers to graphics designers to engineers with teams from our cup and the cup, Hoosier. I mean, really, it was a collaborative. It's like any creative product. It's a collaborative effort. Nick and I and Zippy as well. I mean, all of us really were leads on it. Everybody put in their work. We were the ones that were there full time every day. But everybody else in our company would have if they had the opportunity to do what we were doing. As well.
So what did you do, and what did you two do in particular to build the sim?
I started with handling most of the licensing stuff, and then when we first started to actually build the product, I think we were looking more to actually bring in physics gurus, physics designers to do stuff, and that's what I had done in flight sim. I had worked in physics on F-18 and T-45, and I knew from the work that I'd done there that you don't have to be a physics engineer. You have to be bright enough to understand that you need to trust real data, and you can't challenge that. So I ended up doing the physics on it, and then we ended up doing. Nick and I both ended up building interfaces, which was something that we weren't even planning on doing. We figured we'd have someone else do that, and we kind of when you're a startup company and you can't pay top rate, you lose a lot of talent, the people that can. So or just to the times, people.
Yeah, we ended up doing a lot of things we didn't want to do, and take on and learn. But
got to do what you got to do. So what about you, Nick? What was your main focus in the development?
Well, me and Bob worked hand in hand every day on the physics, the user interface, 3D modeling, graphic and texture work. I mean, pretty much had your hand into everything, you know, with the exception I didn't actually model the tracks. You know, leave that more to the guys that do that sort of stuff.
Right.
But as far as the cars, I was in on that. And
Right on. Now, have you guys, I know you just mentioned you worked with F-18s and stuff like that as far as, you know, some kind of development, but have you guys ever developed anything as far as computer games, sims, or anything like that?
No, I mean, I've never developed anything sim-related, game-related.
It's a big undertaking to jump into.
Yeah, I mean,
I've done some prior modding, but nothing to this extent.
Now, what about gaming? How'd you guys get into it? Were you guys gamers for this? I mean, you mentioned flight sims.
Yeah, I was into flight sim, was into racing, not as competitive as NEC, a lot of first-person stuff. I mean, I've long been, a fan of gaming and stuff, and I love speed. So I mean, anything that can give you any
That's
kind
how
of
I get into it.
sensation
Yeah.
to the fact that it's something that I have a lot of fun with. But yeah, I mean, if it was out there and it was a good title and it was solid enough to be able to get on and play it, I love playing online. I love being able to know that I'm. Whatever I'm doing against another person sitting there.
Versus the AI.
Yeah. So that was something. And Nick and we'd raced a little bit. I mean, we didn't get along very well a couple of years ago. when we first met, it was just constant, antagonizing with each other, which is probably good. We still kind of work that way as well. And we just always push each other. So it was, but yeah, I mean, we're just gamers. We're gamers that build a game.
What about you, Nick?
Lots of racing sims, got into first-person shooters a lot more within the past few years, but just mostly racing.
Let's go out there and do some killing, man. I like those too, man. That's cool. Now, what about race? You guys race fans?
Oh yeah, I'm a big race fan. Mostly, I mean, of all racing, but my main forte, it's oval stock cars.
Right on. What about you, Bob?
If it's fast, goes fast. I like it. I just like the act of racing. I'm not a big fan of any series. I guess you could say I'm a fan of some of the drivers in Arca just because I like what they stand for, what they represent, being an up-and-coming, driver. I love the adversity that some of them are fighting, not being in the cup teams. But, I mean, I'm not like Nick. Like, you couldn't ask me a question from 20 years ago, and I could tell you every single person's point standings for the year and stuff.
Yeah, Nick and I had a little debate last night, so I know all about that. Either of you guys want to drive a real race car?
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'd like to try and get checked out this year, at least get checked out.
Yeah.
And next year, depending on where we're at, I'd love to try and get in a car. I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, and we can be, smart about it and not create any problems on the track by just jumping into something where we're not ready for it.
Right.
If time's right and we're ready, I'd love to give it a shot. But like you say, that it's not like we're going to become a career making.
Yeah, it's not something to pursue as a career, but I mean, what
Love to
way?
that's where I'm at. I just turned 40, so.
Yeah.
No way I'm going to be
if we go fast for a couple of days, we take the opportunity.
Yeah, heck yeah, I hear you, man.
From our standpoint, I mean, what better way to prove the power of our simulation than to
go out there and show you can drive a real car. Yeah.
With no prior racing experience, go get in a real car and go out there and compete.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's go back to the game. Guys got some backlash from the shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Had some issues there going on, and
yeah. I mean, I think being a new company that there was a lot of things that, all the way through development, but, and shipping would be, I guess, one of the things that was a thorn on my side. Because I answered the phone just a little more than they did. It was a thorn on my side, and it's just because, you're naive to certain things when you're new. There's certain things that, you can try and be a forward thinker and try and think of everything before you do it. You're always going to make a mistake here and there.
always going to be growing pains.
No, we didn't actually ship the product. We have a distributor that we work with that is a very reputable distributor. They do all the games for Walmart and Target, and like 100 and some thousand packages a day go out of that place. And we're the first product where they actually had phone calls coming in, where just like we did. And I think a little bit of us, we had met these guys at Daytona. We didn't have the proper lead time for them to get all of our systems talking together. They did the best they could, working overtime, and have staffing people just to deal with this title and this release, so that they could try and overcome some of that time lost. But I think that we're getting there, and it was definitely some growing pains that hurt. But I mean, to me, I look at that and it's par for the course. I mean, it's something that's you're going to always have issues in certain areas, and shipping was something that, I mean, I'm sure they did a better job than we could have done. And we built the game, did all of our own licensing, financed it, published it.
If people don't realize what's involved in shipping thousands of packages like that, I used to work in that industry, and it's a big undertaking.
It's a lot of work.
Logistical stuff going on.
I know, I took it for granted. I had no idea the problems we were going to have.
Yeah, it's not just pack it in an envelope and ship it out.
No,
There's a lot involved.
Especially when you get into, our title shipped what is it, like 27 different countries. We have soldiers in Iraq. I mean, I dealt with their parents, and they sent complete rigs over to them for
Wow,
them
that's
to race
cool.
on, which is something that I thought was just awesome. But I mean, it's like every other day you're getting someone else that's trying hard in their language to send you an email to ask you to open up their country so you can ship to them, and we do it. You know, I mean, and once you cross that border, especially with software, because of piracy, it's tough. Customs is tough on software companies.
Yep.
They want to know the paper trail from where it comes from, and then there also, I mean, there was just, you know, as I had said in the shipping, we had some issues with PayPal talking to the back end at the shipping place, and sometimes it wouldn't send them the zip code for addresses, or sometimes it won't send them an address at all, and so there's a lot of manual work that we're putting in to try and back up these orders. So in all reality, getting those phone calls from the community helped, because it gave us the chance to clear up some of those issues and at least know what to manually go in and fix.
All right, here's another question. If you knew then, when you started, what you know now, would you guys do this again?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know if I'd change anything, just because, you know, the book's not over yet. You know, the story hasn't been
Just
told.
beginning.
Yeah, we don't know where this is going or how it could end up, and I mean, how could you say you wouldn't do it?
Yeah, right on.
Definitely.
Let's see here. All right, well, moving forward, I know you guys got some plans for some other trucks coming in, and
Yeah, Arca late models, Lincoln Water Truck Series. Obviously, the Arca's going to start running the COT as well, so we're going to begin development and testing on that. And I mean, I think that these would probably just be a product that we put into the title as a patch or an update, so that the community can, you know, we're not here to try and just charge for every little thing we do. I think it would be, we can get these products, you know, put together, packaged into the Arca Sim Racing, which is why we didn't name it Arca Remax Series. We want to name it Arca Sim Racing so we can encompass their whole series. But then they can be a part of, you know, it's not like they're developing the game, but to some degree we put those in there for free, and then that next version of our title would come with encompass that whole thing, and they've kind of had a hand in the evolution and the growing of the software, be able to give us some of their inputs and wants and needs and stuff, and we can do the best we can to try and, you know, listen to what they're saying and put in there what we believe is going to make the racing better, or if it's something that's not really about the racing but it's more fluffy, we'll try the best we can to do that, as long as it doesn't take away from the racing.
what about ranking competitions?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, the backbone's there right now. It's just there's certain things we want to do differently with it. I mean, I'd like to see a positive and negative ranking system where you're accountable. It's something Nick's always yelling about is
Yeah.
he really wants people to be accountable on the racetrack, so that, you know, if they make mistakes in the racetrack, their rank can go down. You know?
Yeah, I've been
very
in.
important.
Yeah, I was part of Hawaii 10. There's some other systems out there, CTRA and Live for Speed. And tell you what, when I'm out there on a ranking system, I'm definitely, not that I don't take care of my car when I'm out in any type of sim racing, but I've definitely got that in the back of my mind that, you know, I don't want my rank to go down.
Yep.
So right on, that's
Yeah,
cool.
It definitely takes, you know, puts a little more realism into it.
Yep.
Because you're out there trying to gain the respect of your other competitors, and
In those rankings,
Yeah,
you got some high rankings, you're going to
Yeah,
get it's pretty
exactly.
much instant respect right there.
Yeah.
Right on. What about branching off into other types of sims or console? You guys plan on going that route maybe someday?
We're looking into the console side of things now, just because it's something that the economy of console is one that can help grow the PC sim community. I guess it might sound weird, but the PC sim community is still small, and to really bring in the development money from companies to give us all the titles we need, which is what we need more companies out there developing sim games. We're looking to possibly go in and use that as a revenue, you know, build more revenue streams for the company so that we can stay alive to sustain development and continue to work.
We're in the same boat here at SRT. We're going to be covering the consoles now. And, you know, some of those new console systems are pretty awesome. The PS3 and the Xbox 360, they're powerful, got some great games out there for them. And
yeah, we're not looking to replace or try to put Arca Sim Racing on the backbone. It's just another way to bring more people in, because everybody knows that console racing is not simulation racing.
right, exactly. Yeah, it's you can have fun with it.
There's some good titles. I mean, there's some good titles out there, and I think like we were talking about, we're bound by technology. We're bound by the limits of technology in the computer or in the console. Both have limits. Some of them are different.
Well, you know, I talked about that the other day. I mean, PS3 is starting to really kick it up as far as multiplayer, but 16. I mean,
Yeah.
GT5, Gran Turismo 5, 16 players online. And the code's pretty cool. I've gone on there and run some laps, but man, that's not 42 drivers.
No.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you look at PC simulation, I think that you can race with 42 drivers, have 2 admins, 2 cameramen, 3 broadcasters, and 15 spectators watching the race, all connected to that same server. And it improves the power of PC simulation, that's for sure. And I think it's then in the developers' hands to do their job to make sure that the racing is up to snuff with.
That's the most important part.
It's all about the racing. At least that's all I care about. Is what happens between the wall and the yellow line. I don't really care about animations and stuff like that. Though it is something that we look to integrate and want to integrate as a feature into the software. As long as it can be turned off, because if it affects frame rates, I'd rather race the car.
That affects the racing.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want something to affect the racing. It's all about racing to us.
Now you mentioned the sim racing community being small, and I'm definitely familiar with that. And it's been like that ever since I started. I mean, you talk to people about sim racing, I mean, even diehard race fans are like, "What are you talking about? Is that a video game I'm playing on my couch?"
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to get it to even close to like where flight sims are? I mean, flight simming is just huge.
It's going to take developers. It's going to we have to do a better job. We have to do the best that we can do to bring in as many new people as we can into it, to make the people that are already there happy, and to be able to bring in money to sustain making your product better and better. And really the only way to do that is to have an outreach to everybody. I mean, just there's dirt racers all across this country. We need products that can be the gateway for these people to kind of come into to sim racing, and once they get there, they can open up and say, oh, so there's stock cars, there's this or that. I mean, there's so many great forms of racing that I think that it's important for people out there to just, if they have an idea or something, to try and move forward with it, because that's what's going to make the community bigger as an economy, is development money. And knowing for developers that if they spend $1 million to develop a product, they're not going to make $40,000 back. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be there for one product. You have to have, it's a two-way street. You have to have some support from the community, which is the developer's job to gain their respect. Right. Which means that you have to do your homework when you're making a game. You can't just slap cars together, throw physics on it, and expect people to buy it. They're going to tear you apart. It's a very smart community, very wise to what these cars do and don't do. And I think just like us, I mean, we were naive to a lot of things. I think the community is naive to some things. How come? I did the physics, and I can tell you that I've been around racing for a long time, for years and years, and I was definitely naive to some of the physical makeups of these cars and just some of the actual data engineering, some of the motion, the way that they work, and it took cup teams to do it. So yeah,
we were talking about that last night. Degrees of rotation in a cup car, 72. I mean, that's a lot of things to simulate. Yeah,
you can't do it. A PC couldn't handle it. So, but the only way to really do it the best way, and that's why we debated back and forth about flight sim, and I just think that because they have so much professional influence from aviators and aviation companies, that they're able to turn out a product that those aviators will support. And when they support it, then it's like if a race car driver supports a racing sim and says, hey, this is what it felt like in my car last weekend, then a race fan is going to be like, well, I want to take that, I want to have that experience, I can do that on my, gets with my buddies. So, but if it's not realistic, and if you don't do your homework and listen to those that do it, the professionals, you're going to guess, and you can't guess your way into a stock car. You've got to do it. You've got to listen to them. You've got to work with them. And that's what's going to make it better. And that's what they're all doing. I mean, if you really look at even down in the mod groups, I mean, there's professional influence coming into the sim.
Oh, no doubt.
Brush fire.
No doubt.
It's there. It's just hard to get, and it takes a lot of them. A lot of calls over and over and over to get people to trust and have enough faith in you that you're going to use some integrity when they give you their data.
Right on. Now, we talked about the community. You guys want to say anything? This is the first time you guys have been on camera talking to everybody out there. Anything you want to say in particular to the community?
Just thanks for giving us a chance. Thanks for going out on a limb and believing in a small new company that's, I guess, made a lot of promises, and the eyes of some people, not fulfilled those promises, but.
Yeah,
I know you guys have put dates out there and not always hit them, exactly, but I know you guys are trying your best.
Yeah, you live and you learn, and I think that also as we went through it, we might put a date up to do one thing, and then you don't realize, just such as life. I mean, you can put up a date for something, and you heavily rely on one person or another company or something that they have to do their job to meet that date, and it's not really anybody's fault. I mean, someone could have a family member get sick. This happened to us a few times, and you lose some talent that's like, your right arm, it feels like you're limping for the next few months.
Yeah. And again, it's back to the growing pains and learning from,
And we're not the type of company that could be like, all right, cool, let's just grab another 20 grand and go hire someone else. It's like, that was our guy.
Right, I hear you.
We're not at that point yet.
Okay, one more question. How do you guys feel about the other sim developers out there? You think there's some good titles out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think there's a ton of great stuff out there.
I mean, it's to the point now where you can race just about anything.
Yeah.
Anything that goes fast,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
can race it out there.
I think that a lot of that has to do with professional influence from iRacing to ISI to Simban to Blimey. If you look at what they're doing and how they're building and developing their games and programming, is they've gotten to a point where they're the masters of their own engines. You know, and they know how to put the data in there, and I think that they're getting that influence from people to put the right data in, so that the protocols of racing are coming out and being more true to life. But yeah, I mean, I really, as I said earlier, I think that we need even more. We need more developers out here. We need to bring in all the people out there and let them know that we're here, because I think that the community is so small. We've never had the money to really market, even in the past.
Right.
And some have more than others, but it's gonna take a village to raise the sim community, to raise the child, and it's gonna take more companies with taking risks and to stay in this community. And that's one thing you have to respect. Some of the companies that have been around for a long time is, we've been doing this, and you're not in a console game. You're not going to go out and sell 1 million copies the first year. These guys, some companies still out there and have sold under 100,000 copies, which is, you can't sustain the company on that.
Right.
And they're still there. They're still there, and I think they're there because of passion. And I think they're there because they know what sim racing can be, and that every year computers are growing and getting so much stronger each year that, you look at where we're at now and what we can do in simming compared to 4 years ago. They were limited by technology. Where are we going to be in 5 years? So I think if everybody just keeps hanging in there, by the time we get to that point and computers are a little bit stronger, someday we'll be to the point where, remember when there used to be warp?
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to.
Well, I've seen
broadband pipelines will be across the country. It'll
Yeah.
be stronger, more fiber optics. As technology grows, we're like bottom feeders that as soon as technology comes, they're like, oh yeah, we can use that. And we're going to take from that technology and it'll benefit simulation to the end all. And racing, racing is the hardest simulation to do compared to flight or any of it, because there's 72 degrees of motion. There's so much physical processing power it takes to equate and calculate those physics, and the tracks are huge, and each car is so textured, and it's impressive what companies did back 3-4 years ago. They actually were able to race with 40 people.
We don't look at other sim companies as competition, really. Either.
You guys are all kind of in the same boat.
Yeah,
just
we're all in the same boat.
Just
and,
doing different
they
things.
focus on whatever and do their thing, and we've said since day one our one and only goal is stock cars and ovals, and that's what we're focusing on. And
we've got a road course coming though soon.
Yeah, we're gonna start.
I'm looking forward to that one.
We just want to be we want to be the best at emulating the Arca Remax series. I mean, when it comes to the cars that they drive and the protocols of that series, we want to, from the COT down to the car that we're driving now, and those are the late models and trucks. We want to be the best at that, and we will never give up trying on that. But I mean, there's a lot of smart people out there, and I think we all walk by each other in the mud and just kind of nod as we're waiting to get out of the mud.
Right. Well, guys, thanks for joining me here. Bob Coulter, Nick Steelman of the Sim Factory. I'm Darin for SRT. See you guys later.
Thank you.